So Antony, on Instagram with his agent, watching the game tonight. He's been out of Ajax squads in recent weeks, but trying to engineer a move to Old Trafford. How do you feel about that price point?
Fee's obscene. Fee is absolutely horrifying. It's horrifying.
To quote Chris Hamill, no player from the Eredivisie should be leaving for 100 million.
The fee, let's have it absolutely right, the fee is horrifying. It cannot, I mean, it's going to happen probably at that fee, but it's ridiculous.
So just to give that some context, they rejected £67.2 million, Ajax. It was thought that Ajax were going to accept that bid, but then they've watched United become increasingly desperate and now demanding 84 mil. But some of that is to do with the fee that's going to Sao Paulo as well, right?
Off 5 mil.
No, but let's not forget as well that Ajax have lost so many key players this summer. They've lost their manager, they've lost their assistant manager. To lose Antony this late in the market would be horrendous for them as a club. So they can charge what they want. I totally respect Ajax for making that stand. As for Manchester United, United really need to set out some principles in the market, I think. And by paying 100 million for Antony, I think you immediately open yourself up for every other club to go, 100 million you had for Antony, okay, then this is what he's going to cost. I think United really need to take a stand and go, okay, you want to charge that, we'll walk away from the deal, and we'll move on to an alternative target. And I would have no problem with that. I think Antony's a fabulous player, but the price point is utterly ridiculous at this stage. He would no doubt be an improvement for Manchester United, and let's not forget that this is probably Erik ten Hag driving it. This is Erik ten Hag saying, he's a player I want, I've got to have him. So United are kind of like, but at some stage somebody from the club has to go, look, Erik, we've tried up to this fee, we simply cannot go above this. The market rate is ridiculous.
To a degree, we've seen that with Casemiro, right? Like, you guys were linked with Frenkie De Jong for a long time. Maybe he was begging for it for a long time.
I still think there's chances for Frenkie De Jong.
I love it. I love the positivity. What has come over you in the last half an hour?
The reason is I think Manchester United are definitely going to try and sign another midfielder before the window closes. Now, I say there's chances for Frenkie De Jong. It's very unlikely. I said it right. The money's gone on Casemiro. I think if United don't move for Antony, clearly United have the funds for another major move, don't they? I think if they don't move for Antony, they move somebody like Gakpo. I think United might be thinking to themselves, okay, look, we're going to have to bite the bullet, pay the deferred wages, and we're going to have to try and get Frenkie De Jong. I think Erik ten Hag wants another central midfielder to supplement what he's already got. He probably wants another right back as well. It might not be Frenkie De Jong, but I wouldn't be surprised to see another midfielder come through the door. And I think Frenkie De Jong is probably still one of their principal targets, despite the fact, yes, it's very, very unlikely. I think the chances of it happening are probably 50-1.
Yeah, just to reiterate some points we've made on previous shows. Casemiro is absolutely a world-class player. He's going to provide an awful lot of cover for what was prior to this game an extremely porous defence. But we've been following United closely for the last 2 or 3 weeks, haven't we? And Rabiot isn't De Jong, who isn't Casemiro. And these are all very different profiles of players, so it's hard to kind of keep up with their thinking. So I agree. I think they still need a world-class ball carrier. To drag them up the middle of the pitch. Part of the Antony deal might be Hakim Ziyech going to Ajax. Would you be, sad to see him go? Bit of a lacklustre couple of years, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite worked out for Hakim Ziyech at Chelsea. That's for sure. There have been elements. That's for sure. Definitely during Frank Lampard's second season when he was going through that good patch. I remember a game against Leeds where Ziyech was fantastic and looking like he might progress here. Then he got injured, and Chelsea had to change things up, and so. I think there's a few signings Chelsea have made where maybe they're looking at this transfer window now. They've already done it with Timo Werner and saying, okay, do we cut our losses here? I think Chelsea spent something like £35 million on Hakim Ziyech, so it's not maybe the quite 50 million that it was on Timo Werner. And him going back to the club where he was fantastic before, obviously he knows the city very well, is something that is very possible. There have also been the rumours about him going to AC Milan, another league that I think he'd be very successful in.
But maybe curtailed by the Catalare.
Indeed, and that's where obviously if they do let go of Antony, then they will be after a key player,
isn't it?
Yeah,
we'll come on to some more transfers in a bit.
Yeah,
I think there are other options at United that need strengthening.
Well, you boys were after United as well, right? After Ziyech as well,
yeah.
Right?
Well, we were interested earlier in the summer, I think, is that sort of fullback option alongside Pulisic. But I think, if Ronaldo leaves in this next 2 weeks, I'd be extremely surprised not for us to go for an out 9 as well.
And so who's that?
That's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really, really
There's an absolute scarcity
It's a really
of
difficult
nines
option because there are no nines
available right now.
And United might be forced to dip into someone rather unsurprising.
Yeah, you might have to repeat yourself to an extent, but you said the £84 million it would require to get Antony out of Ajax is horrifying. How would you spend that £84 million then? What positions would you prioritise? Have you got any players in mind that you'd really like to see at United?
I definitely think there's a forward needed at Manchester United, versatile. And don't get me wrong, this is not me saying I think Antony's bad or would be a bad player for United. I think he'd be a really great player for United, but the fee is just obscene. So I think United need another central midfielder. They need a striker. They need a right back. I would say a goalkeeper, but I don't think the goalkeeping option is there to challenge De Gea at that fee. I think if you want to get a goalkeeper, you know, like how Pep, when he came in, clearly didn't really fancy Hart, but had other problems to deal with first. Kept Hart for a season, second season, thought, okay, now's the time to bring in Edison. I think that's probably a next summer problem.
Well, Claudio Bravo as well, yeah.
Yeah, he tried it, didn't he? He tried a few different things, but it didn't quite work. So I think United might almost replicate something like that. So I think a central midfielder that can progress the ball, a right back to challenge Diogo Dalot that allows Aaron Wan-Bissaka to go out as well, and then a striker to basically alleviate Cristiano Ronaldo and allow Cristiano Ronaldo to leave the club are needed. Those names, I think they're really hard to find in the market, especially the fullback position. Finding a quality fullback now is incredibly tough because it's such a sought-after position. The striker role, there's already a dearth in the market. Chelsea are trying to sign a striker and they're having to dip into Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to the tune of £30 million. United are not going to be spending £30 million on that. Like, we've seen them try and go for a budget option like Arnautovic. So I don't know. I think the striking options are difficult. Maybe the people in the comments can let us know who they think United should sign through the middle, because it's tough. It's tough, but Martial's going to play there when he's fit.
I was going to say, Anthony Martial today was, for the 45 minutes that he was on, was a completely different player that we've ever seen at Manchester United before.
I don't know where that player's been. I do wonder whether maybe, going to Sevilla and it not working at Sevilla
made him realise.
It's been a bit of a reality check for him. He's thought, I need to Sevilla weren't willing to come in for him at a cut price, tiny fee for United. So maybe that's been a bit of reality check, and we'll see.
Rashford too in the first half. He got a bit knackered by the end, but he was also.
I still don't think
positive.
he's a number 9.
Okay.
I still think he's better coming in off that left-hand side, Marcus Rashford. So I do think there's a definite space for a number 9, and I think Cristiano Ronaldo will vacate that. I don't know what you think. Do you think Ronaldo's going to be here September the 2nd?
Running out of homes, isn't he? Obviously, the Dortmund CEO said he would love to see him at the Signal at Donna Park, but
it's the most anti-Dortmund signing ever.
Yeah,
and that social post a couple of weeks ago was very odd.
Yeah, he's kind of been. I feel like he's trying to be cryptic, but he's come across a little bit. I don't know. He's
and there's something to be
sullying his reputation with United fans, isn't he?
The third choice striker tonight. Rashford started through the middle. Martial came on first sub as a striker.
Right.
That's effectively third choice striker. There's no way Cristiano Ronaldo is staying at Manchester United to be third choice striker on £500,000 a week this season. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, here's some other names you've been linked with. Give me a quick yes or no. Meslier in goal.
No, not for me.
You don't like Meslier?
I think he's a fabulous goalkeeper, but I think he doesn't fit the Erik ten Hag vision of a goalkeeper. I think he's an amazing shot stopper. He's super dominant in the air, but I think there are other options out there that would be better suited to an Erik ten Hag system.
Yeah, for you?
David Raya at Brentford.
Yeah, I don't really know enough about goalkeepers to have a good selection, to be honest with you. I feel like it's a really niche position to pick selections for, especially distributing. You always have to watch that keeper regularly. If you watch highlights of a keeper, you never see the ball distribution, do you? So I don't know. Yeah, David Raya is obviously very good with his feet. I think Robert Sanchez is a really good goalkeeper as well at Brighton. But these players aren't going to come cheap. Goalkeeping position, especially when they know United have got cash, is going to be serious money. And let's not forget, Dean Henderson might have a stunning 12 months at Forest, come back and be the United number 1. It's not improbable.
Yeah. We've got Caicedo as well from Brighton. Of course, he was scouted by United prior to his Brighton picking him up from South America.
Too early. United had the chance to sign him for £4 million. Let the lad develop at Brighton, for goodness sake. He looks like a really good player, but
it's just off the back of a good night against United, right?
He's played 10, 12 games with Brighton. It's just ridiculous.
It felt like a very tenuous link. And then we'll talk about Cody Gakpo lastly then before we move on, because here's someone that I feel like you're slightly underwhelmed about, but may provide good cover on the right and the left, can play down the middle at a push.
Yeah, again, I think the wide forward is less needed than the striker for United. But, I haven't watched enough of him to be honest to hold serious opinions of him. What I've seen of him and the numbers I've read of him, He looks exciting and he would offer cover, but is it the cover United need, or could they just get a striker and then Martial offers the left wing cover, or Rashford drops to the bench, or Sancho can offer cover out there? You've got Alanga as well, can offer wide cover. Garnacho can offer wide cover. Number 9 is the player we need.
I think I'd still prefer Pulisic on loan versus Cody Gakpo anyway, if they can sort of facilitate a move like that.
If you get an option to buy.